Hey, here we go. Shout out number 3. I'm going to keep this quick, fast, to the point. Okay, very similar format as the last couple. First section is shout outs from the last tournament down there in Kerrville. And then number 2 is a little bit of an extension of the stats. It's a quick snapshot of where we're at to date. Number 3 is going to be Talkables. Okay, there's only 3 or 4 things there to go over. And then the last, 4th and final thing I'll do is go over our upcoming trip to Colorado, expectations there, and kind of lay a few things out. So here we go. Tournament review and stats review. Kerrville, Texas showcase. Second time we've been down there in a row. Weather was good, temperature-wise, except for that last day. You know, we got rained out, in that first bracket game. So we only got 4 games in. But we went 2-2. Our batting average as a team, was just under 300. Our fielding percentage as a team came in at 950. So 2 claps to y'all. In the previous shout-out video, I'd given you a challenge to try to get up and operate around 950. And y'all did that in the very next tournament. So, great job. That 950 defensive fielding percentage is represented by y'all having 59 total chances and only 3 errors, okay? Malia, you had a couple. Abby, you had 1. Look, those errors, again, were either bobbles or, minimal, silly type errors. So, scratch those 3 off the board, and all of a sudden we finished the tournament at 1,000. That's incredible. So y'all are consistently getting better. Okay, 2 claps, great job. At this level, our job is to split hairs and find ways within ways to get things done and get better. And y'all have done that. Our defensive numbers are continuing to show that. So 2 claps. In a comparison from last tournament, I had brought some attention to our strikeouts looking and then just regular old strikeouts. That number and percentage was about the same as it was in the last tournament. We yielded a slightly higher team average of 296, but not a lot changed in those 2 categories. Our batting average leaders, okay, for that last tournament, Ellie, you came in at 833. That's ridiculous. Good, but ridiculous. Shamo, you came in at 500. And you even were sat for 1 game. So, 2 out of 3 there games. And then 5 or 6 of y'all tied for triple threes. Okay, so that's great. The team expectation is, to be pulling your weight. You need to be batting 275 or above. And, the majority of our team there did that. So, great job. Fielding percentage, I think there was 9 or 10 of you that finished at 1,000. So, good stuff. So, all in all, it was a good tournament. We finished 2-2. Our hitting was okay. Our defense performed a little bit stronger. And it is what it is. We probably, we had that bracket game coming up late in the day on Sunday. Those storms rolled in. We could have played another 1 or 2 games, maybe 3. And then the stats may have been a little bit different, but based on our body of work out of 4 games, net, not too shabby. So 2 claps. Current stat, number 2, okay? Moving down. Number 2 is just a quick snapshot of where we're at the end of the day today, right? So like a year to date. Stats accruing from day 1 all the way to today. As a team, we are 8-6 as a record. I hoped personally we would have got to double digits by now in the wins, but I think we all can clearly agree if we push rewind, there's a couple games that we could easily go back and get the win from. So 8-6 isn't terrible. We're on the winning side of it, which is good. That's what we want to be. But these next 5 or 6 games we have coming up in Colorado, from a pride perspective, I want to run that win number up, So 8-6 is where we're at. As a team, we're batting .355. That's good. Our expectation or standard on offense is .275. So as a team, for us to be sitting or hovering and producing at .350 is really, really good. The defense team fielding percentage, okay? We're sitting at .922. 2 claps. Very good. 75% of the team is at or above .275 on offense, okay? That's great. 90% of the team is at or above the defensive standard of .850 and above. So that's incredible. Runs scored, okay? Us versus them, 68-43. I don't really have anything to dig out of that, but we've scored more than you have, so 2 claps. Stolen base percentage as a team, we're at 95%. Okay, we have Kaylee getting caught. Totally understandable. You're young. You're figuring it out. And then also accompanying her, we have Eliana Joe getting called out this year to bring our stolen base percentage down to 95. So anyway, 2 claps. I'm just kidding, guys. And then in summary of the current stats, I'm going to go over our big sticks right now, okay? If you're batting above 400 collectively coming into this video right now, you got the recognition. There's 4 of you. Ellie Joe, you're leading the list at 586. That's incredible. I've held back a lot talking about you. You've done a really, really good job of doing your job and leading leading a lot of different categories, and I want to commend you for that, okay? I don't give you enough praise, but it is nice to have the level of output that we get from you and the consistency. And if there's a problem, you can usually get it fixed, really quick. So anyway, 2 claps, great job. 586 coming in with 17 hits. Right behind her is Miss Chloe Clark, okay? She's at 462. She's registering 12 hits. Right below her at 440 is Fry. She's registering 11 hits. And then to finish off the list, literally a hair underneath the Fry, is Shamo. And she comes in registering 7 hits. And if you go and look, there's a couple of y'all that have registered a few more hits than Shay has, but hopefully by now, I've taught you that sometimes stats can show things in an interesting way. So all I did was grab the top 4 batting averages and then also listed whatever the corresponding hits were. So don't worry about it if you have more hits than Shay. I didn't leave you out. It's just that I grabbed the batting average column. So anyway, no big deal. All right, that's the end of that. Moving on, okay? Number 3, Talkables. There's only like 3 or 4 here. But I really want these to resonate, okay? I'm going to do my best to keep them short, professional. My job, is interesting because I don't get to play like the feel-good guy sometimes. Sometimes I got to play the guy that just tells you simply, I got to be the first one that tells you in a brutally honest way, hey, look, it's going to either be like this, or, there's no middle ground. And just know that as we go through these, I'm trying to talk to y'all like you're Eliana, and we're on the back porch, okay? So, yes, I'm a coach, and yes, I have some IQ behind what I'm saying and some experience, but I've also been down this road before. I've got an older boy that went to college and played ball. I've got 2 older sons. I've been in the space. I understand, what it takes to get to the next level. I've been around thousands of athletes in the youth space. And so it's not, I'm not trying to give myself credit. I'm just trying to tell you, Use me as a resource. And if we talk about something or I stay pointing on something, trust me that it still needs attention, okay? So it's again, coming out of a place of love and passion. There is a hair of frustration, but it's coming out of love and passion. And you got to get this stuff ironed out before you get to the next level, because that's what the expectation is. All right, the first Talkable is, y'all play on a competitive team, okay? I'm going to jump around a little bit here, so stay with me. Y'all play on a competitive team. You have to be able to come and talk to us when things seem different. You know, there's a lot of moving parts in our program. There's a lot of moving parts in you as an individual, as a female athlete. There's a lot of moving parts in your game. There's a lot of moving parts in what our focus is throughout the course of the season. So, you got to come to us and talk to us anytime something seems different. You want to be able to come and talk to us so you can get information in real time, okay? If you wait and let whatever you're confused about fester, right, like just without explanation, then sometimes it can go bad in your head, you know? Like, y'all are young. It's not, nobody expects you to be an expert, you know, in this whole understanding of how it's supposed to happen. But you got to trust us as coaches and come and talk to us so that if something in your mind doesn't seem right, the last thing we want is for that to be a roadblock for you, okay? So, one of the things I'm talking about, Lace, love you, love our relationship. You've never told me in private that you hate me talking about you, so I'm going to keep doing it because we had another great situation that we can discuss, you know, and kind of on the heels of what I just mentioned there, like Lacey came to me at the end of game 4 when we were waiting for game 5, which was the first bracket play game, late in the afternoon on Sunday, okay? And again, I'm keeping these at 30 minutes, so I'm going to try and talk fast. But she came to me that day. It was just her and I. And, you know, I'm sorry, Lace, I'm telling your business a little bit, but, you know, it was a model for how girls need to understand how to approach a coach. So she came to me and basically said, look, why am I not playing infield? And, you know, from a coach's perspective, that was a great question because Lacey is an athletic girl. And what I told her in short order was this: look, you're not like not playing shortstop because you're bad at it. You're playing outfield because you've been making more plays for us out there. And your athleticism and your ability to track balls and your aggressiveness and response time and all these other things have been yielding the team better results. And, you know, what I didn't tell her at that specific moment in time, right, because I didn't want to pile on, like we were just having a conversation and I was kind of helping her understand why. But if you dig just a hair deeper into that, Lace, one of the other reasons why is because it's not like you took your name out of being a shortstop. But if we go back and measure your general body of work, when you were shortstop is when you were, you know, posting some errors. So, you know, there is a method to our madness, and if you're missing time in a certain position, you know, come and talk to us. And, you know, again, on Saturdays is our pool play games where, you know, we want to rotate people around and satisfy different things. But on Sundays, or when we're trying to be super competitive, you're going to be put where you're producing the most and you're the most effective. And that's going to change cyclically over time. So in short order, I guess what I'm just trying to say is, like, I commend her for coming and talking to me about it because it was obviously something that was on her grinder, right? We can all laugh about it now, but I heard she was pissed off on Saturday and blah, 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 and her and I joked about that. But, you know, the good thing that she did was she came to me by herself with her guard down and said, let's talk about this. So, 2 claps, okay? Come and get your review anytime. Is it my job to come to you every single time we meet and tell you where you're at in real time and what's changed and how many ticks up or down you've went? No, it's not. I mean, it really isn't. I'm your coach. So if you have questions about things, come and get the information and we'll gladly give it to you. On the reverse side of that, you got to understand that what we're looking at is we're looking at it from a perspective of how effective is your athleticism relative to everyone else on our team. Like, that's the internal measuring board. So if you hear that, you need to work on A, B, or C, don't take it personal. Just know that everybody's bodies are changing and everybody's moving through different points in time. And this is just one of those points in time where we see that you need to work extra hard here if you want to be here or whatever. So the beauty of our team is we're high level. It leads me kind of in the end of this bullet point, which is like, y'all are now being analyzed on things that are even smaller, and athleticism all the way through is something that we have to consider. Execution rate is obviously something that we have to consider, but it's also not a primary factor. It's one of. So as we get more competitive and we progress through this last year and a half of our journey, just know that we've all raised our hand and said that we want to be part of the most competitive environment possible. So in setting those standards and maintaining them and all these other things, like, there's a metric system that we're using to measure things at this point in our journey that is much deeper, than things that are at face value. So just make sure that you never work yourself into a scenario where you're confused, you're frustrated, there's something on your grinder, X, Y, and Z. Come and get it from us at any time. Only a couple more things here, all right? And this one here is going to challenge me to be, PC. I'm y'all's coach, but I'm also a dad, right? And I can put my dad hat on if I'm in my garage. But this one here is about, like, self-presentation, okay? And I'm just going to read the notes I made for myself and then try to condense it after that and skip on. But self-presentation is one of the most important things that you gals need to be worried about. Some of y'all are so worried about execution rate that you're qualifying yourselves to be a bottled up person, okay? If you are a person that is competitive, and there's more than one of you on the team, okay? So no one is individually special enough to get this message directed at them singularly. There's 3 or 4 of you. But the reality is that it's not funny anymore. It's not tough. It doesn't project as, oh man, that girl's really got her stuff together and, she's a competitor. Like, if your body language wears you down and you can't present yourself, your self-presentation in a manner that is constantly encouraging and motivating and uplifting for your teammates, then you're a Debbie Downer. And nobody is going to give that person a scholarship when they discover that's your primary trait or your go-to if something gets difficult. So, I'm out of patience for the ones who can't control their body language and attitudes anymore. Just because of an error or not hitting as well. Like, to have stoic, and most importantly, and most annoyingly for me, having stoic and then non-responsive behavior because you're going through whatever you're going through in your mind, which is screaming at that moment, I'm an internal player, I can't control my stuff or my thoughts. And like you gotta understand that non-responsive body language is unacceptable. Like, why force me or your teammates right now to have to deal with that? Because everyone knows if there was a recruiter in our dugout, you wouldn't act like that. And some of y'all may be saying like, look, you said we're an elevated team. What do you mean? Like, nobody's throwing their helmet or whatever. You're right. Of course, we're an elevated team. But at this level, if you can't be positive 99% of the time, then you're losing ground on the girls that are preparing themselves for college, right? Y'all watch the college games and the World Series. Did you see any of the girls on the field having a freaking hissy fit? Like, consistently wearing body language that was so stoic and non-engaging with the rest of her team that it was noticeable. Like, everybody can notice it. In the stands, you can't notice it, okay? What I'm talking about is the behavior when you're mad that you didn't hit as well as you should have an inning and a half ago, and you're still non-engaging, punishing yourself with mad, stoic, hard behavior. It's obvious, and it's nauseous. Like, why do I have to deal with that? You're not going to show that to your recruiters, so get better. If you can't flip the page and become positive right now, then what makes you think you're automatically going to be able to do that day one when you're a college athlete? You're not. So start understanding the method behind my madness, okay? Like, you're punishing yourself for things mentally way too long, okay? You get 2 seconds, and you got to move on. Because guess what? Practice and other times besides the freaking game are when you want to hold yourself accountable for that. So stop putting on a show and being internal and being mad and pissed off and negative, okay? Because you didn't hit the ball, you bobbled one, you overthrew it, it was a drop, like whatever. That girl's not going to get a scholarship. Just know that. Yeah, that's enough. We'll move on from there. From here on out, if I see that kind of behavior or experience it in a tournament or a game, I'm going to put you down on the bench, okay? I'll be the bad guy. I'm going to, I don't care if you think you're being watched. None of it. I've addressed the body language and behavior expectations too many times. Most of y'all are trying and have significantly improved and marched to a high beat. But then there's a few of you that have flatlined and there's zero progress, okay? So those situations I can only address through a benching, okay? So no, it's coming out of love, but I'm going to use it. My last word of advice on that is, look, I've talked to recruiters, okay? I've been lucky enough to build a relationship with a couple of them over the last few weeks. And one of them that's interested in my daughter has specifically told me, look, we're more interested in the girl who's super positive and has the ability to be dynamic, okay? One of the recruiters that was specifically talking about Eliana said that what captivated him and kept him coming back to stand behind the hot fence when it was whatever it was out there was knowing that there's a potential on the next pitch she could make a crazy dynamic play. And when she got up to bat, it was the same energy. So, and then he spoke directly to her ability to have just hit a couple dinkers on offense and didn't smash the ball like she wanted. But he noticed that the body of work and the overall attitude, and even when she struck out, coming back to the dugout. It was a model for a teammate. So some of y'all need to check yourself. And really ask yourself that if whoever your favorite coach is, what if you told them all those secrets? Okay? Are you going to feel proud? Or are you going to try to start working on that? It's not hard. It's not easy, but it's not that hard. It's just a mind frame switch. You got to do it. Nobody wants to play with the girl who's mad, and when everybody comes up to you to say, hey, good job or whatever, you're like, Like, it's not going to happen to the next level, okay? So I had to talk about it. I'm sorry. That's the end of it for me. If your killer instinct is unregulated and unfiltered, then just know that you're out of place in a team sport, okay? And colleges are going to expect you to have that honed in and have it under control, okay? So, done with that. The next subject is scout talk. I just mentioned a little bit of it there, but in quick passing, when they come to watch, stats are the least of the measurables they're using. Yeah, they may be writing stuff down, and y'all are thinking they're writing down your strikeout or whatever. But the ones that I've talked to said they're writing notes down like she was positive, didn't affect her, was motivating. None of it said she sucks and went 0-2. So make sure immediately you guys start like recalibrating how you operate in these tournaments, okay? Please, 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 please. The scouts are saying different. They're saying they want other things than what you're holding yourself accountable to. The last note there was they want to see something that nobody else has, okay? So give them that. Show them that. The last talkable is this, okay? Team departures. I'm going to glaze over this, but I want to address it because it is, near and dear to my heart, and it's never fun, and it sucks anytime, that there's someone that departs for the team or a team departure. But I want to speak to y'all from a generalized sense, okay? We're not in a secret society or a gang where we can't ever talk to one another again. Don't think for 1 second that the memories you made and or relationships you've established are a waste of time. They're not, okay? People that depart from a team are doing it because they have analyzed that they are ready to experience a different environment for whatever reason. And it's never our position to judge whether or not their reasoning is appropriate or not. Our position needs to be happy and supportive. So I just want to encourage you girls that, as you go throughout life, team departures, right? We always talk about how this stuff translates to life. Here's how. If you're at a job and your coworker's been working with you for 1.5 years and she leaves, that's a team departure. Okay? What I'm talking about right now helps prepare you for that. So when you experience a team departure, stay in contact. Wish that person well and don't feel any kind of way about it. Celebrate it. Don't turn things that are, just an event into something that is negative or positive. It's just a change in situation or change in scenario. So again, the last note on that is we're going to go through a lot of team departures in concept from now until the end. You got to be good at it. You got to understand that, you can still be friends with and talk to and root for, that person or whatever. Okay. So enough about that. The fourth and final thing is a couple notes on Colorado, okay? It's a long span that we're up there. If you're coming up for the games, I need you to be the best teammate and, more importantly, daughter that you've ever been. Why? Because your parents are bringing you to Colorado. It's It's not free, okay? It's not sponsored for us yet. We're not there. We're trying. We're working on those things, but we're not there. So if you're up there, your parents are paying for that. Be a good person. Make that experience that y'all have up there awesome, which should translate to you being the best teammate, of the season. Um, we're gonna have the opportunity to have fun because it's laid out over a long span, 5 or 6, 7 days. But I want to tell you that I want you to have fun, but the challenge to everybody would be this: be able to show up, warm up, win a freaking game or two, and go home. Don't need the whole rigmarole of a tournament and all these other things to show up and be sharp. Because I think we're guaranteed, 4 or 5 games of pool play, excuse me, and then single elimination bracket, so a total of 6. But like those games are laid out over the course of 5 days. So we may play one game one day and then not do anything for an entire day. Based on the schedule right now, we'll hook up and have a light workout when we're in town. But my point is okay, game 1 on a Tuesday, and then nothing on a Wednesday, and then 2 games on a Thursday. Be ready to show up, warm up, and win those games, okay? Because for me, we're at a point in our season where there's going to be some recruiters and all that kind of stuff out there, but it won't be as heavy as what we've seen in some of our past showcases. So have fun, hammer the ball, okay? The air's lighter, hit your dinger. Everybody is hoping that Fry goes yard, right? Fry's going yard in Colorado. Sleep on that. But my point is have fun, ball out, try to play at the top end of your game. Care less about a recruiter and am I going to, get a scholarship. And just let's go get some wins, okay? Let's go make some girls cry. Let's enjoy the great weather. Let's go have some good food. You're all are going to go do tours and excursions and different things like that. So enjoy this, but come and hunt, right? When it's time to hunt, let's hunt. The last thing I would say is, look, we're going to have a practice on Sunday. It'll be a couple hours long. And then, we may or may not have an optional workout leading up to it. But that, look, the next weekend, everybody's traveling. So I want you to think about what your personal goals need to be for the rest of this season and set those and see if you can achieve them in the 5 or 6 games that we've got laid out, okay? Love y'all. Never try to offend anybody. If I did or have triggered someone, my apologies. You certainly know that's not I hope you know that's not my objective. I was trying to address stuff, okay? So I love y'all. See you soon, and go Blaze.